So this whole Marie Antoinette controversy had me thinking about brioche, so I made some for you guys, and in this video we're going to be talking more about the embodiment of a dead scapegoat and the consequences and how that will parallel in your physical reality. But I also wanted to give you a recipe, so I will be breaking down very briefly how to make delicious brioche yourself. I will also be adding a timestamp so you can fucking skip it if you don't want to bake and you just want to get to the other stuff. Alright, so let's expedite the recipe for brioche. It's 500 grams of AP flour, 15 grams of yeast, 50 grams of granulated sugar, and 10 grams of salt to start out with. And then 100 milliliters of warm milk. Warm like a baby's bottle. You don't have to get the fucking thermometer out and do all this bullshit. Add it to the yeast or straight to the dry ingredients. It doesn't fucking matter. People like to be experts and hear themselves talk and complicate shit, but you're not. You're gonna crack your 6 fucking eggs like you would crack the skulls of those bitches that owe you money. You can save your eggshells for cascaria and make a protection barrier to make sure none of their nasty ass fucking wanna borrow money vibes are in your environment. You're going to take all of your wet ingredients besides the 250 grams of butter that's going to be last. Everything else is incorporated but the butter, okay? And what we're going to do is incorporate it in thirds or fourths. So just get a scoop at a time and whisk it in until it is fully incorporated. I highly recommend having a stand mixer. Not at this fucking prices right now. I don't have a stand mixer because they're like $1,000, but it'll take you a good 10 to 15 minutes in all seriousness if you do this manually. You can also have your friends or family help out. I sure as hell do at times. But you want your dough to start looking a little bit like slime, and if you're doing this by hand, your arm's gonna feel like slime too, bitch. So just get used to it and enjoy the fucking exercise because you're gonna just eat those calories up. You'll know when your enriched dough is ready when it starts to really slide off your spatula. This demonstration right here, it's about 80% done, and I wasn't able to film the end result because I fucking forgot and I have a bunch of kids up my ass all day. But it should come together almost like it's moving around and sticking and sliding off of your spatula and kind of forming a ball on its own. With butter or neutral oil, you're going to grease a clean mixing bowl to add your kneaded dough into it. You can leave this in the fridge covered with cling wrap overnight. I would take it out and give it like 4 hours to get to room temperature before the next step, or leave it out at room temperature for about 2 hours until it doubles in size. Fast forward, the dough's ready, quit fucking around and preheat your oven. I weigh my brioche buns to about 100 grams each for jumbo muffins, and I am going to let them proof one more time for about an hour. They will double in size. We'll give them an egg wash and bust them in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius or around 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 to 15 minutes, and fucking boom, you're done. You're good. Let them eat cake. Allegedly quoted by Marie Antoinette. That quote was in response to a tabloid in the late 1700s, and that led to the French Revolution. As an occultist and a spiritualist, it was really fascinating and interesting to see some random influencer who was invited to the Met Gala dressed and adorned in Marie Antoinette attire saying, "Let them eat cake," that her PR team put together, strategically knowing that it would cause controversy because the Met Gala itself, this Vogue sponsored circle jerking, this whole shit show is just ran by pedophiles that fucking fund celebrities that we envy. And people are getting kind of sick of it. We all know shit's fucking going south, and we all are kind of feeling it, and those of us who made good choices and went to school and just tried to stay out of trouble and did all the right things, we're just getting fucked up the ass every single day of our lives. A lot of people, my fairy lights went out. Then they went back on. Belial, is that you? I'm going to consider this supernatural activity. Belial, if it's you, blink twice. I'm scared if you do. We're going to continue with the show must go on, ladies and gents. Let them eat cake. Marie Antoinette allegedly said that, and it was political propaganda that was subjective. Now, where's brioche come into play, and when are we going to eat some? Brioche was known as cake back in the late 1700s because it is an enriched bread similar to cake. It contains a little bit of sugar, eggs, and butter, and that was known as cake. Now, if Marie Antoinette had said, "Let them eat cake," in terms of brioche, that would have been very disconnecting and offensive to people who were working full-time and can't fucking afford to eat or pay their bills. There's another term for cake in the late 1700s in France. And cake in that manner was referred to a charcoal briquette that you'd use to heat up a wood fire oven so you can bake your bread. So if she would have meant that, that would have been very disgusting. Like, well, fuck, just let them eat coal. That's what our oligarchy societies say all the time. They say it's our fucking fault we can't afford. Like, fuck you guys. I'm not even kidding. For me to make a dozen fucking brioche buns, it's almost $40. Like, I'm super fucking flabbergasted. Today's video, by the way, is sponsored by my water faucet because I'm thirsty, bitch. Now, as an occultist, I found this whole scenario with this influencer who probably didn't know what the hell she was doing or saying and just wanted to feel cute, and she's in her own dystopian bubble like the rest of us. Like, we don't know what it's like to mine fucking cobalt, so I'm not going to act like I'm sitting here suffering and struggling and nobody knows how hard it is. However, she became the spokesperson for what's known as the digital guillotine. She is the scapegoat and the blame for the celebrity culture dying down because many people, especially the younger generations, they are mass blocking any celebrity, any like news agency, any sort of media that we're sick of fucking seeing. And we are proving that this doesn't work because now I am forced to see things on my feed and I don't have the option to block them. So this is all really unraveling as we speak, and we have to understand too, you guys, we're in the age of Aquarius, so the truth is going to come out. The reality about that is our world is most likely ran by a bunch of hoarders and pedophiles. And they fund our favorite celebrities that get paid while we sit there and envy and admire their lifestyle. They profit off of it. So there's a disconnect here, right? This woman who's just an influencer and she's got a billionaire boyfriend and she's all cute and shit. She's got like $1 million outfit on and she's like, let them eat cake. She probably didn't know what the fuck she was saying. Marie Antoinette didn't know what the fuck she was doing because she was a 14-year-old child that was just shoved into the French monarchy for nothing more than political propaganda. And it really seemed like she just wanted to raise her kids and she wanted to just like party and live lavishly. Don't you act like at 14 years old, if you had no internet, no nothing, no fucking technology or education, that you wouldn't have been doing the same. Even after her death for hundreds of years, she is still blamed. I'm sure she had no idea what was really going on, and I'm sure she was brainwashed to fucking be that way because she was a kid. I want to just introduce you guys to the power of food, like a little metaphysical super mysticism. Bread is grounding. And it's convivial. It can stop fucking wars. If we all come together and eat a really delicious meal, we're not tripping off of anything else. We can stop our bullshit and focus on that. But right now, when I see a brioche bun, I don't see breaking bread with thy enemy. I see that that fucker costs too much money to afford to make. I needed 500 grams total of butter for the batches that I made. That right there set me back $14. A dozen eggs sent me back another $7. That's $21 for butter and eggs, not including the flour that I buy and all these other things, right? That is a problem. And that's what I see energetically right now when I am baking and cooking. And when I see people that are embodying dead scapegoats and they don't know what the hell they're getting themselves into, it inspires me to pay attention to the physical parallels in our reality now. Because that poor woman was just going to a fun, fancy fucking Met Gala and she probably felt really special and just, it's nuts. It really is nuts though when you think about it. And I might sound like a hater and that's fair enough, but when most of the world is struggling right now, and we've got a ton of genocide going on in multiple places in the world, and we're pretty much trickling into fucking global war. Congo's at it, fucking Iraq's at it, you know, obviously genocide in Palestine's happening, the fucking conflict within Ukraine and Russia are happening, and Ukraine's just bought out by BlackRock and daddy, you know, AmeriCorp. So I know I'm getting political about this, but this inspired me and it changed my relationship with brioche bread. I made a few batches of brioche bread over the course of a month because I had some errors. It was just a fucking disaster. And my family and I are in a place in our life where we shouldn't have to worry so much about those sort of like financial losses. Because the first batch that I made didn't turn out right. And I scratched the project for a few weeks and I fucking had like a meltdown over it. That was $20 worth of product for a half a dozen like chunky buns that I made for you guys. That says something because a lot of us, because look, this is where I'm coming from. I don't give a shit if you work really hard. I don't give a shit if you went to trade school like myself, or if you went to university, or if you just worked like an honest living, or if you worked a crooked living, as long as you're not hurting innocent people. None of my fucking business, because there's plenty of people above the law that are breaking every fucking moral rule in society. So I'm not tripping off of the petty shit. Or if you're disabled, or if you don't want to work and you just want to vibe and you have enough and you live within your means and you just want to function and kind of enjoy life, you should be able to afford some brioche buns. If you don't want to bake them yourself, you should be able to afford to buy them at the grocery store pretty easily. And those bakers that are working at those grocery stores or at the mom and pop shop or at like this, upscale bakery, they're all getting paid the fucking same. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. They deserve an honest living wage too. And I'm gonna let you know this as a cook, that doesn't exist. I was paid $9 an hour at my highest rate as a line cook, as a high volume line cook with a trade education, to the point where my school was sued because of a class action lawsuit. The student loans exceeded the average monthly pay of a line cook in California. Listen, Moon Muffins, I'm not here to bitch and snivel about my life and all these things. We are abundant beings, okay? I want you to feel abundant during these times. I want you to focus on gratitude for the small things, because that has been helping me get through, and I have been able to manifest a lot with very little. As I was saying, this, we're going to pretend this is coal, you guys, caused so much controversy that people fucking finally rioted and they tore down their establishment that was oppressing them. They didn't give a fuck about what color skin you had. They didn't give a fuck about how heavy you were. They didn't give a fuck about where you worked. They didn't do any of that shit. They put it all aside. I really believe that when we're breaking bread, whether amongst demons, amongst our spiritual team, or amongst each other, or in the pleasure of our own company, which I often do, this little bun can help us remember our self-worth during these sorts of times. It's a challenge. Even making it, I hear people go, I can't fucking do it. Then don't do it. But you should still be able to afford to enjoy it. Like, I don't care if people don't want to cook or bake. A lot of you guys that watch my content, you're just here for the show and you're never going to pick up a spatula in your life. That makes me a little sad, because I love seeing people develop skills with cooking, and it makes me excited when you guys share things with me on Instagram, and it really is lovely. But you should still be able to afford to buy a dozen brioche buns. The next time that you're having a delicious brioche bun or any type of bread, please think about that sort of stuff. And know your self-worth. You deserve, and you should feel entitled to be able to afford some delicious enriched buns very easily. If people that benefited from your system, such as Marie Antoinette, like I said, who was a fucking child and was completely disconnected from reality, like anyone would. Hey, JFK even said he didn't realize that there was a Great Depression as a child because he was living lavishly and had no idea. So keep those things in mind. We are all in our own vortex. Your life might be a lot better than mine, or vice versa, and they might be both in different areas. But regardless of what's going on, we should all be able to easily afford to eat and to bake for each other and to make things for each other. And our systems are set in place to make that feel impossible and exhausting. I am grateful that I can still provide some brioche buns for my family and for my beautiful demonic spiritual team that I just absolutely adore and feel very grateful for. I'll see you guys on the podcast very soon, and I'm already working on a better project for this platform. So you guys take care.